Man, what a great time we had. What an
Yeah, I
amazing
mean,
time.
like we're just out there, you know, just busting. I mean, the ghosts are there. Boom, we show up busted the ghosts. Like we're just busters of ghosts or something. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, say that one more time. That's what we should be called.
Oh
We're
my
the
god,
ghost, but
we are the ghost.
so we
Thanks
watched
for
Ghostbusters
watching.
2016. Um,
Yeah. The power of Patty compels you, I think.
the power in the trailer. I think it was literally the power of Christ, and they changed it for the
Mm,
movie.
right. But it's the
The
power
title
of
of this video
Patty.
I've already decided, which I normally don't decide this early. The title of this video the power of this video
The
compels
power of
you.
this video is
The
that
title
no
of
one
this
will watch it.
the title of this video I've already decided is should you give Ghostbusters 2016 another chance? So we're going to answer that at the end of our
Mm,
discussion.
right.
Um
Or we won't, or we'll
or we won't.
forget that
We
that's a
will
question we
forget.
asked, and
We
we
will,
yeah.
for sure we will
Yeah.
absolutely
No,
forget.
100%.
So here's the thing. Before we
Yes,
get into
Ben
this,
Grimm is the thing. He's the one that said we're the four of us are fantastic.
Avengers up. That was Chris Evans. Chris Hemsworth
Right.
was in that movie. He talked about an elevator.
Yeah.
Hemsworth is in this movie.
Yep. He is a dumb person in this.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Before
Okay.
we jump into it, this is the Semi Pro Film Show. We do this every week. We watch a movie. We
Or
talk about
do
movies.
we?
Most of the time.
Or do we?
Most of the time.
Find out by subscribing and ringing that
Right.
bell.
Hit the like
know?
button. Ring the bell. I want you to
Share it with all your friends from high school. Yeah, just all your friends from high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not a bad one. Just all your friends
Yeah.
from high school. I was gonna go with something a little more niche, like send this to the
Or like
quarterback of your high school football team.
right. If you've got like a group chat on like Instagram, Snap, even like iMessage, whatever, that was just like your whole gang, your whole crew back in
On
high
Kick.
school. Kick maybe if you were in middle school. I don't know. Whatever, man. Whatever your OG the boys group chat was, or the
And girls,
girls,
and girls.
yeah, we got, women power.
No,
They
I've
can
seen
bust
our
ghosts.
analytics. It's
No
100%
women are
men.
watching us, but maybe this one, because it's a woman movie.
It's a woman movie. We're gonna talk about that. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, we'll get
Actually,
there.
no. Disregard everything we've said.
Send it to no. Don't disregard the stuff
Send
I've
this
said.
to
The
a
stuff I've said
woman.
is very valuable. Don't ever
Just
disregard
send
anything I say.
no. Just send this video to a woman.
Ooh, yeah,
It doesn't matter which one. Just send it to a woman.
right, yeah.
It's about women. Send it to a woman. It's International Women's Day. It's
Is
not.
it?
It's
I don't think it's even International Women's Month.
I think there's a day. There's not a month. When is International Women's
No,
Day?
there's a month and then a day in the month. I think the day was first, then they got a whole month.
International Women's
I think it's like
Day.
March, isn't it? March is Women's
March
Month.
8th. We missed it.
Yeah, and the whole month of March is International Women's Month.
No.
Yes, dude, look it up. Google it right now. You're on Google. Look up I'll do it, you asshole.
Send this to a woman.
Send it to a woman. Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one. Your mom, your sister. You don't talk to any other women, but
right.
We're trying to expand that female audience here on the podcast. But no, Ghostbusters 2016. Did you find out when International Women's Month is?
I guess it doesn't exist. Women's
didn't
History
think it
Month?
exists.
Okay, Women's History Month is March. Then that's what it is.
See, as you said that, I would have gotten it.
No, you wouldn't. It's the same thing. International Women's Month, Women's History Month, whatever. It's her story too, okay?
Me too.
Think about it.
Drake Bell.
Well, hashtag, yeah. Right.
No.
No. At least not that I know. I don't know.
Right. I don't presume to know him.
Right. Or her. I don't,
or them.
Right.
It's going very poorly.
This is bad. This is our worst ep yet. So let's talk about the movie. Send it to a woman, send it to your high school friends, and post it on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Ooh, good one. Yeah, if you've still got a Twitter, put it up on X. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Let's talk up for a second about
Oh, and Instagram
2016.
Threads posted on there too.
Let's talk about being a pop culture nerd, autistic, whatever we were in 2016. Let's talk for a second about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Okay. All
Me
right.
and Daniel were both niche internet micro celebrities in the whole pop culture
Right. Right.
nerd
We were
autism.
nerds. We made art on Instagram and we liked nerd shit. That's,
Back in
you know,
2016, this movie was the equivalent of Mein Kampf. Just the fact that it
that's
existed.
maybe a little bit of a stretch, but
Yeah, but
I get what you're going
There's
for.
hyperbole
No,
kind of thing.
yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Like it was the fact that not like the announcement of this movie, because the announcement came, it was like it's a Ghostbusters remake, but the Ghostbusters are women, and everybody's like, "Oh, no, they're stupid, they're women."
Yeah, that's
And then,
yeah,
I mean, that's what they
basically.
sound like.
Yeah.
And then they announced the cast, and everybody's like, "This is
They're
women."
like, oh, it's all these, stupid, dumb, unfunny SNL bitches.
Right. And then the
Who
first
I
trailer came out.
like Kristen Wiig.
The trailer
Better.
came out, and they were like, women.
Basically, yeah, yeah.
And then the movie came out, and they were like, "Would you like?" This
but
movie
it
was one of those that got just like review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes because that was the thing
Oh,
back
yeah.
in 2016. It's probably still a thing.
Oh, surely,
But
yeah.
the
Whatever the
audience
new Zack
score, like
Snyder
review
movie is or whatever.
bombing, whatever on Rotten Tomatoes, because Rotten Tomatoes, but in 2016, Rotten Tomatoes, people actually like checked that out to see if they would watch a movie. Nobody's really doing
Well,
that
yeah,
anymore,
losers would, but yeah.
but yeah, this movie was so stupidly controversial.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was so dumb, but it was
It was
also like
unnecessarily controversial, but exclusively with just virgin
incels.
incel pop culture nerd losers.
Right.
You guys, our audience,
The people who watch this podcast.
the
No, this
exact
movie,
people that this podcast appeals to.
but this
Yeah,
movie,
we
like,
hate you.
I don't know. This was one of the first big ones where we really saw that pop
I think
culture
it may
audience.
have.
Like, we
Was
really
this
saw
was
them
this the
like
first
speak out on the
like
internet.
was this the first like? Because I can't think of any others. The Ocean's 11, they did the
Right.
ladies reboot thing. But was this like the first of those?
Probably
Or at least
not.
but like the first like big one where it's like a big
Um,
well-known property that's being remade.
the next Karate Kid,
Oh, that did do it. Yeah.
American Psycho
Yeah.
2.
Oh, sure, with Meg from Family Guy. Yes.
There's How I Met Your Father, of course, but that was later.
That came out like this decade.
Right.
So I'm gonna say yeah. I'm not gonna count American
It's
Psycho 2, All American Girl, or whatever
okay,
the other
so
one you said
Ocean's
was. The
8.
next
Yeah,
Karate
and then
Kid.
there were a
I'm
few
gonna
after
say
that
this
where
was
they
the
were just
first.
like gender swapping.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this was the first big one, which is a lot of
Probably,
why it was
yeah.
especially, controversial and what people are nerds.
They were all they were working on it at the time. Like they were working on this being a thing. This was just like the first one that
Right.
came out.
Sure.
And look, here's the thing. And we're going to talk about like how we kind of feel about this movie as we go.
We might. Who knows?
If the reason you dislike this movie is because they did it with a female cast, you're an idiot.
Right. You're a loser. Go get some pussy.
There are
bitch ass.
there are so many other reasons to dislike this movie.
Right.
There are so many reasons to like this movie. But there are tons of other
Sure.
reasons to dislike this movie.
Yeah.
This is also one of those movies where if you look at me and you say, my favorite movie is Ghostbusters 2016, I'm probably going to shoot you in the head.
I don't know about that, but I probably surely won't have a conversation with you.
Yeah, but at that point you
because
might
you
shoot you in the head.
I don't I think there's a fine line between not having a conversation with someone and shooting them in the head.
Is
Personally,
the line really fine? Is it a fine line? Or is it just like a Like a big
Yeah.
line, maybe.
Well, it's a fine line.
Okay.
The
Okay,
expression
cool.
fine line means that there's a distinct difference,
No,
doesn't it?
fine line means there's a very small difference. Because the line is very small, so like to cross over it would
Yeah,
be
but
easy.
that's one of those things that it's like it's been, you know, we
No,
took it back.
fine. No, no.
No,
Fine
I think
line
it
is
is. I think
like there's a fine line between apples and applesauce. Like that would be how you'd use that expression.
no, that's not a fine line.
No, it's very
There's a lot of difference there. What are you talking about?
it's very similar to
That
pear
one
one fruit.
no, that one uses it the way I used it.
I don't think so.
Apples and applesauce are nothing alike, other than the fact that they're both
They're
apples.
both apples, yes.
Yeah, but that's not
That would be why the line is so fine. Okay,
what's so
hold on.
fine about
There's a
apple.
fine line
Why are we talking about
there's
this?
a fine line between apples and pears. How does that is that better?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, no, that's worse. What?
Why is it worse? You said that apples and applesauce was bad. There's a
Yeah.
fine line
Well, no, both of them are good the way I
between
used it,
murder and
which is, I guess,
serial
not
killing. That's one because it's like one is like almost leading into the other, but it's like there's a difference. They're not the same thing. But like
okay.
if you just cross over that
I
fine
don't
line,
care. I don't care. I'm a digress. I don't know. Maybe I used the word wrong. Maybe I'm changing the meaning,
maybe
maybe in
you're the
20 years.
OG.
Maybe, I mean I was the original, right?
Yeah, the original Ghostbusters 2016,
Right. Well, it made me feel good.
circling back.
So, this movie is bad, but
Not as bad as you
it's
might remember.
not yeah. It's probably not even bad in the way you remember, maybe?
For sure. It's definitely not bad because haha, the Ghostbusters are women.
Right. No, it's
It's
bad
bad
because
in the
it's
way every comedy from 2016
right.
and in the years surrounding are bad.
Yeah.
It's bad
So
in
it
the same way your all of your favorite comedies from that era that you haven't seen since that era are bad. You know,
right.
comedy's dead, man.
I don't know about that,
It's because
but
woke killed comedy.
I don't think so.
Women killed comedy.
Probably, yeah, yeah. Well, these specific women,
Right.
of
Ghostbusters
course.
2016 killed comedy.
Right, right. And Bill Murray? They killed Bill
They
Murray
did
also.
kill Bill Murray. That was a weird
Yeah,
one.
it was
Not
fun.
Ernie Hudson.
No, no. Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd made it out alive. Bill Murray and Harold Ramis weren't so lucky.
So let's break down the plot.
Yeah, okay. So it opens with Egon, Kristen Wiig, who I guess is supposed to be Egon.
Right.
Also,
And Egon,
maybe.
because Egon's in the Institute.
Right? Yeah, yeah. She's
I
definitely
don't
supposed to be
know that
Egon because
they're
there's a
directly I don't know that they're directly
Mm,
supposed to represent original
no,
Ghostbusters.
but we're going to compare them.
Right.
So
For sure.
she's Egon. Melissa McCarthy is Bill Murray. Annoying Kate McKinnon is Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson's niece is Ernie Hudson
Why do you say that?
because Ernie Hudson is her uncle
Yep.
in the film.
Why do you say that?
It's
Why do
her
you say that
uncle
she's
in the movie.
supposed to be Ernie Hudson?
She's the straight man. Sorry, straight woman. Look, I don't know if this is a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm upset.
Uh,
So Egon, Kristen Wiig, is horribly awkward and not in a funny way. She's just
no.
cringy and uncomfortable. She is just glazing this old lady scientist that she looks up to. Some guys there that I guess later implies they were dating or something. I just said glazing, bro. It wasn't that funny. She was glazing the hell out of that old
What
lady.
does
She did
glazing mean?
glaze, like the dick eating, the glazing, like you glaze.
Is this a slang term I just haven't heard before?
Oh yeah, no, this might be a new one. No, the glaze. She was glazing. She was
A
dick eating.
glaze. See, that's
Look at the glaze. I mean, he's
Yeah,
the
no,
most renowned chocolatier in the
she
world.
is glazing. It makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. So she's glazing. The guy that's there, they later imply was maybe her boyfriend, but
They even
I didn't get
say
that
like it
information.
is her boy. Well, I mean, she kisses him on the cheek in this
She
scene, and
kissed
you
him
can
on the
see he's
cheek, but
like
I thought that
avoiding
was
her kisses.
right. But I thought that was just like douchey rich thing where they're like European, like they kiss each other on the cheek, like
See,
the
I
mafia or
assumed it
whatever.
was a 2000s horny joke. That's what I assumed. In
How
my mind, it was
for
like a,
kissing?
or well, no, like a 2016's, like the same thing they're doing with her and Chris Hemsworth, where it's like she's
Oh,
horny
she
for
she was
him,
into him, but he was just like blowing her off.
right?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, and that would have made
But no,
more
apparently they're
sense with what they did. I
dating,
guess they were dating, yeah. And he's just horribly embarrassed by her because she's horribly
which
embarrassing and
makes sense. Like
awkward.
if I were dating
Yeah,
her,
no, I get it. Yeah, no, if I was dating her in this movie, I wouldn't let her kiss me on the cheek and in
absolutely not.
public.
Nah,
That's
he got a
come
step
on,
further than I got.
right?
The ghost in the library, on the other hand,
Now that was some glazing. That ghost glazed her. Um,
she glazed pretty good.
right. Well, she got glazed. So okay,
No,
yeah. This
Kristen
is
Wiig got
when
glazed.
Kristen Wiig is a professor. She's about to get tenured at Columbia University.
Yes, it is Columbia.
Um, it is, and so she's practicing her science professing in front of an empty classroom. Ed Begley Jr. from playing Clifford Maine on Better Call Saul. He shows up and he says, hey, lady, you made this ghost book. I like ghosts.
I have a
Uh,
ghost.
I have a there's a ghost in this. Oh, I guess we kind of glazed past
Yeah, it's okay.
the
Just skip
first
it. Just
scene.
move on.
Yeah, well, I'll bring it in now. It opens with uh
The one guy.
that skinny looking freak from The Office.
Right.
Um,
He's in other stuff.
yeah, but he's the skinny looking freak from The Office.
Right.
He is given some tour of a supposed haunted ghost mansion, but it's just fake. He's just doing there's like little magnets and stuff. But then we see real ghost stuff happens to him, and we see a little device that's set up for later, but we don't know that
It's
yet.
it's
We just
it's
think
like
that's the
it's
device.
implied that he
Device.
dies, but he doesn't.
Yeah, no, it seems very much like he dies because he falls into a big thing of goop, but then he's in a scene later and he says he pissed his pants.
It
It was a good
was
joke.
a great bit.
It was good because Ed Begley
Great,
Jr. delivered it.
great bit. Great joke.
So yeah, so Ed is there, and he's like, hey, you wrote this ghost book with Melissa McCarthy, didn't you? I helped me with my ghost, and she's like, no, uh, and then she's like, how did you find this book? I
I
don't want to be
burned
associated
all
with this.
2
I
copies,
burned
she
I
said.
burned the 2 copies, and he's like, oh, it's being sold on Amazon and Kindle, all that shit.
He even says
So she
he's
goes,
got a good bar there. He says, "And on
yeah,
audiobook, but I know how
right,
to
but I know
read."
how to read. It was great, yeah. So then she goes, naturally she confronts Melissa McCarthy, who is working at some other university. It's I don't remember the name. It was some like
Yeah,
shitty
it was one.
lower.
You're not.
It was a
It's
mean
not a
one. It
real
was
one. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a joke. That was the
Glendale. It was
joke.
Glendale.
Right. It was it was Greendale Community College.
Yeah, Glendale is something, but I don't know what.
Glendale is probably a real thing. I don't know.
It's probably
Uh
a high
just a play.
school in my county.
Right. Um so yeah, this is when we meet Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon.
Yes.
Neither of these women I find particularly funny. I like Kristen Wiig. She's funny actress. She was in Wonder Woman 84. That movie sucked ass. I fell asleep watching it.
Right.
Um,
It was.
and they're like doing stuff. There's a bomb. Kate McKinnon built a bomb.
Yeah, she built a bomb and then
She built a lot of bombs.
that's her thing. She's the wild
Yeah,
card.
she's
Like,
the
and that's
wild
the
card.
joke. Ha ha
Yeah,
ha.
she's
But no, she's
crazy and she
actually the
builds
wild card.
bombs.
Like legitimately. It's like they
Yeah.
took the Sunny joke about like, "Oh, I'm the wild card," and turned it
Right,
into
and
a
they
real
just rolled with it,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a real thing. It's okay sometimes. Most of the time it
It's
sucks.
yeah,
Sometimes it's
it's
okay.
I remember it was I didn't like her for, like, the majority not even the majority. I guess just the first half I didn't like her, then she
Yeah.
started being funny to me, and
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it is, like, just, like, brain rot fatigue. I'm just like, "Okay, anything she says that's not, 'I have a bomb,' is funny,"
It's
but
she's for sure the weakest Ghostbuster.
right,
Like,
yeah,
in terms of humor, she's the weakest one.
right.
It probably goes, what's the Ernie Hudson's niece's
I need to look up her name because that's the only name I don't know.
she's the funniest, followed
Yeah.
by probably Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Her and Kate
It
McKinnon
was
are
a
pretty
it was
equal in terms of being funny and not funny about 50% of the time.
right. Leslie Jones, that's the
Leslie
funny one. Yeah.
Jones,
Yeah, she's
SNL
good.
alum Leslie Jones.
Right.
She's still on Saturday Night Live to this day. Oh, she's
Probably.
not,
I
she's
don't know.
off. It's, the
I don't
mayor's
care.
assistant who is still on SNL to this day.
Right. I guess. I don't know. You're the only person that still watches SNL.
Um, but yeah, so they go I'm trying to think of what happens after this. Kate McKin not
I
Kate
think this is
McKinnon.
this is they get the library scene. They go to the haunted
Yes,
mansion,
they
link
go
up
to the
with
haunted
Ed
mansion
Begley Jr.
and they film it, and when it gets posted on the internet,
Right. This is when she gets fired
Egon
because of
gets
Reddit.
punched because of Reddit.
Yeah. Right, which is great.
What yeah. And then she goes back and they start working together to be Ghostbusters.
And then I think we introduce we get Leslie Jones, and
No, well,
she's
first they get fired from their job
oh right,
at the
yes,
other
yeah, yeah. Melissa McCarthy is like, oh yeah, Columbia won't support these ridiculous ghost busting antics, but this ridiculous university, they'll support us. And then they're like, no, you're fucking idiots, we're not doing
and
that.
we get a pretty funny scene with the dean flipping them the bird in various different ways, which is
That was
pretty
that was
funny.
fun and silly. I liked the dean, he was good.
He comes back up again
They
later.
steal a bunch of equipment from
Right,
from that school. That was fun. And then oh yeah, we get the bait and switch with the firehouse. They're
right.
like, oh, this firehouse, it's perfect. We can, oh, it's so much space. And then it's like, oh, it's like $30,000 a month.
Yeah,
We
right.
cannot afford this. So
This is
they
when
instead rent out a little. Yeah.
this is when I looked at you and I said the thing that I think I said 2 or 3 more times throughout the entirety of
Right.
the movie
Remember
watching
this
it.
bit in the original
Do you
Ghostbusters when
remember
it
in
was
the original
funny?
Ghostbusters when they went to the thing and it was funny and we laughed?
Remember when they had this exact same bit and it was funny? Yeah.
Remember when Ghostbusters was funny?
Right.
But yeah,
Which
then they
is
move into a Chinese
occasionally in this
and at
movie, but
this point
yeah.
in the movie, because we're about at the scene where the whole thing shifts. We're about at the point in the
Mm.
movie where the whole thing is redeemed. At this point in the movie, I was done. Like
Yeah.
at this point in the movie, I was about to fall asleep. I was like, this is not nothing funny has happened.
Right.
The ghost effects are solid, but like I'm not rocking with this. And then they start hiring for their
And
new kid.
then Chris Hemsworth shows
And
up.
Chris Hemsworth shows up and saves the entire
He's
movie.
so great.
This
He's
movie is worth watching
so
simply for Chris
unbelievably
Hemsworth.
dumb. Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
think you said it while watching the movie. Like this is the movie that made Marvel realize that Chris Hemsworth is funny,
right.
and and realize that Thor could be funny and not just
And should be
boring.
because he's
He
hilarious.
absolutely should be. He's great. Yeah. And the funny Thor movies are monumentally better than the stupid boring
Right.
uh
Ragnarok's not my
L
favorite, but it's still better than the first two.
right. You don't like
Not
Ragnarok?
Ragnarok, Love and
The
Thunder.
newer one,
Love
yeah.
and
That one
Thunder.
was it was fine. It was
It was fine,
stupid.
but it was funny.
Yeah,
Chris
it was fun,
Hemsworth
right? And Christian
Chris
Bale was
Hemsworth
there,
is
you know?
one of the funniest actors to never be a comedian.
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth could go on tour and do stand up and he would kill. He's
Probably. You
like
just go
I
out there
don't
and talk, you know?
and he might be funnier in this than he is in anything else.
it's possible. He's fucking hysterical in this, and he kind of becomes the main villain, which makes it even better. It's great. We'll get
He's
there
funny as
though.
the villain. But yeah, so they hire Chris Hemsworth on, and my whole feelings toward this movie shift. Because it's like laugh a
Right.
minute when he's on scene. Everything he says is funny compared to
It's
the normal, and
yeah,
this
and
sounds we're
it's.
sounding
I
like
mean, you can.
incels here because we're like, oh,
Oh,
the guy got
absolutely.
there and he's funny, but the women weren't. That's
Right.
not what we're saying. But
No, I promise we're not the villain of this movie. We're not incels, all right? We're not trying to summon a bunch of incel ghosts to kill the
every
Ghostbuster women.
line in this movie is a joke, and only about
Right.
50% of them land. Every
Well, it's
line
the and
Chris
you
Hemsworth says is a joke, and they all land.
you can so clearly like juxtapose in that scene where it introduces him, like everything he says is funny, and everything from Kristen Wiig, who I like as an actress, and even maybe 50% in this movie I like her.
Mhm.
She's just so awkward and horny and uncomfortable, and
Yes.
she's I mean, they're all
The
sexually
same.
harassing Chris
Yeah,
Hemsworth
for
in this
sure.
movie. It's super weird, and I feel like
Which, once
I should
again,
address that. Just
it happens in dude comedy movies all the time,
right,
but that doesn't make it less
yeah,
awkward
I
and
get it.
uncomfortable.
No,
No, it happened in the
it,
first Ghostbusters. Not all of them, but
yeah,
but
yeah. Well, Bill Murray
Bill
is
Murray,
just
yeah,
the horn dog. Yeah,
right,
yeah. He drugged Sigourney Weaver.
right. He brought
Um,
Xanax. What was it?
Thorazine.
Thorazine. I don't know what I've
Yeah,
never heard of Thorazine.
I don't know. I know Thorazine because it's in like some rap bar about Thorazine.
Mm.
Like I just know that word. It's in my head because of like this bitch called me stupid. I got smart water in my bong.
Right,
Like
right.
in the brain.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so they're all creepy oogling Chris Hemsworth, but also he's a dummy, so they're laughing at him and making fun of him for that. He's just, like everything he says is just a great bit. He's wearing glasses without lenses, so he goes to like itch his eye, and they're like why well, you don't have any lenses in your glasses? What's up with that? It's like, oh yeah, I just
I
they
took
kept
him out
getting
'cause they
dirty, so
kept
I
getting
just
dirty.
I just figured I'd take him out.
And it's the stuff
Oh, I
he's saying
think
is
the saxophone
the
one.
saxophone bit, dude. He
He
pulls
holds,
up
he
2
holds up two
pictures.
pictures. Says, "Which of these makes me look more like a doctor?" Me, man, it's two pictures of him shirtless. One, he's playing a saxophone. The other, he's
He's holding
holding
it
it
up
up
his
to his
ear.
ear. He says,
And
"So we got me listening to the saxophone or me playing the sax?"
the lines he's saying are equally as dumb as everything else in this movie.
Right.
But it's sold so well. Like, they're not
Yeah.
necessarily any funnier on paper. If you read them, they're not any
Right.
funnier. But Chris Hemsworth
Some
does
of
such
some
a
of
good
them
job. Some
are.
of them are,
I
yeah.
think definitively the no glasses bit is funnier than Kristen Wiig being awkward to her
Oh, yeah, I
whatever
mean,
whoever that old
sure,
glazing the
sure.
old lady. But
They're
no, I
all
get it. In just like a
dumb.
general sense, they're all just shitty mid 2010s jokes.
Right.
It's just the way they're delivered is either funny or
Right.
it's
Right.
Kristen Wiig.
But no,
Which again,
Chris
I
Hemsworth
should
really
specify. I like
sells
Kristen Wiig.
it. He sells the jokes, he sells the
Yeah.
humor, like, it's really it's great. And he saves the movie. At this point in the
Right.
movie, I mean, we're probably like 20 minutes in. I was before Chris Hemsworth came on scene, I was considering doing like a swap like we've
Just
done in the
ditching
past.
this, yeah, just watching like an episode of the Ghostbusters
Yes,
cartoon or
anything.
something.
I was
Anything,
like, we can find something else to do. It doesn't even have to be Ghostbusters. I do
yeah.
not.
Right.
But then Chris Hemsworth shows up and he saves the whole thing
Yeah.
by being that funny.
He's just an idiot and he's great.
And
He's
the
perfect.
plot at this point progresses pretty much Ghostbusters standard, except for we don't have a montage.
Yeah. No montage, no
And
ghost busting montage,
first
which
Ghostbusters movie without a montage.
right. Which is fine. I
Yeah, I don't
mean,
care if there's I don't
it
care
kind of
for a montage.
yeah.
I like a
I don't
montage. I don't love a
I think
montage.
I like a montage. I think it works when it works, when it's just, to show stuff happening. montage style.
Right. When it's
Um,
montaging, it's good. When it's not, it's not.
right,
I don't think
yeah.
it always is.
Usually is, but so this one doesn't have it. It I guess doesn't need one, but
I think it would have
kind of
benefited
does
from one.
also because I mean, there's barely any ghost busting in this
There's
movie if
no
we're
ghost
being
busting
real.
in
They
this
like they
movie.
don't ghost
The,
and like
so this is
admit it, like it probably is like on like actual screen time the same amount if not more ghost busting scenes as the original one or two or whatever.
this is a good time to
But
talk about the ghost busting dynamic.
yeah, I
Because
yeah,
so the first
it
Ghostbusters
sucks.
movie, it really sells this idea of here we have some schlubs who are ghost exterminators and they're exterminating ghosts, and then they get a really big client. And they get a
Right.
client that's so big and so powerful, and the client, I mean, the client's Zool, but you get what I'm saying. They get a client
Sure.
that's so big and so powerful that it really begins to put them to the test. This movie is kind of only the Zool stuff.
Right.
Like the first movie really
I
sells,
feel like
and the second movie too. It really sells this idea of them just
this
like hunting ghosts.
this one is a lot more, and I'm sure this stems from because they I mean they address it at least a couple times in this movie that this being a women reboot, it's going to make incels mad. They have more to prove,
Right?
and that kind of it reflects in the movie like they all these
Maybe.
characters are well, I'm not saying that necessarily in a good way, but it's like they like all these characters, like that seems sort of like all of their arc is just other than Leslie Jones is just kind of there for the vibes.
Right.
Like all of them are trying to prove themselves. Or I guess maybe just Kate McKinnon
See,
or not Kate, just
maybe
Kristen Wiig and Melissa
for
McCarthy.
me, it more feels like the comic book movie effect, where it's like
What do
we
you
have this
mean? I
big
mean, this definitely
threat.
feels like a comic book
For
movie.
sure.
Yeah.
We have this big threat, and our only goal is to defeat the big threat. Whereas the first Ghostbusters movie, the big threat comes, but they also have more plot than just the main bad
Right.
guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the more plot that in the original was just them ghost busting or Bill Murray trying to fuck Sigourney Weaver
Right.
or
In
Egon
this
trying to fuck the
movie.
secretary, whatever. In this, it's them trying to prove themselves as legitimate scientists, trying to prove themselves
Right.
to legendary
Just Kate
ghost
McKinnon.
debunker Bill Murray. And Kate McKinnon just wants to build bombs or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I
But
don't
because I mean,
know.
we get so many just schlocky dumps from Kristen Wiig about how I was bullied in school because I believed in ghosts and I
Yeah,
saw
you're
ghosts
right.
as a
You're
kid.
right.
It's like, oh, shut up! I so don't care about you.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
for sure right. They replaced all of the ghost busting outside of the main plot stuff
Mhm.
with emotional. I have to prove that I'm not
Yeah,
a crazy person,
I'm not a crazy person. I am a legitimate scientist to
which
be
is
taken
not
seriously.
bad
Fine,
necessarily.
know.
It's not bad if handled well, but the problem is Ghostbusters cannot be epic.
Right.
It's so stupid.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. And next week we're gonna talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife, the requel.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they make
Ghostbusters
that even
is
more epic, don't they?
dumb. Ghostbusters
Mm,
is stupid. It's a dumb plot with dumb people doing dumb things, and somehow they succeed. Ghostbusters is not Star Wars, and it's not a Marvel
right.
movie. Like, and
Right.
it can't be this
But
big
this one
thing.
is.
Yes, this is both. It's somehow both Star Wars and a Marvel movie.
Well, they're the same thing.
Right. You can't do that with Go, and it's the era where this is Columbia, right? Which is Sony.
Hmm. Yeah,
Doesn't
Sony.
matter.
I mean, it's always been Columbia. It's always been.
Like everybody's searching for what franchises do we have under our belt and what can we make
Hmm.
franchises are hot. And this Ghostbusters is not a franchise.
No, no. It's a movie and
It's a great movie.
a movie that happens to have a sequel 5 years later
Right. It's a great
and a
movie with a
silly
bad
a
sequel
cartoon
that's funny.
and a successful cartoon because it's made for children.
Right.
because children like ghosts.
And busting makes children feel good.
I no. um, so
But no, like this doesn't work in the context in which they imply that it works in this movie. It just doesn't.
right.
And that's the movie's biggest downfall. That and it's not funny. If this movie was funny, this would be like great. If this comedy movie was funny, this comedy movie would be great. But it's not.
Yeah. And it's funny like half the time.
I'm gonna give my
Maybe a
percentage.
little
It's gonna be
less.
40% of the time this movie's funny.
Yeah, 60-40 seems more realistic, but I'll give him the even 50.
And 30% of the 40 are Chris Hemsworth.
Right. Yeah.
But now back into the plot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get us off on that rabbit train.
Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, we basically just dropped the whole plot there. So at some point, they bust up the fucking whatever haunted house with the ghost lady that stabbed her sisters.
Right, this is the opening scene.
Well, no, it's the library scene, but it's not the opening scene.
I mean, but it's really close.
Sure, it's the same location,
Right.
but
I guess nothing happens in the middle of this movie. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the clock and I'm stressed. And
it doesn't matter. We're just waffling. So they do that. Yeah, she gets fired. We already talked about that. They're hiring Chris Hemsworth. We introduced Leslie Jones. She's a subway worker.
Yes.
And she sees. I don't know if she saw. Yeah, well, but first, Josh was in this scene.
Right.
Our
Josh
incel
to check in. He was real rude to her.
Yeah. And he then just runs down the subway, and then she chases after him, sees a ghost instead that I guess he summoned with one of his little ghost summoning machines that he puts on.
Josh not being the
name
in the movie. Josh being our friend.
No,
Josh,
our friend Josh, who is an incel. Any incel character we will call Josh. Yeah. So Josh is summoning the ghosts. Leslie Jones sees a ghost. It scares her, so she goes to the Ghostbusters. And she's like, "Yeah, saw a ghost." And then we get arguably the stupidest scene in the movie. Where she's fucking giving some graffiti guy shit in the subway for graffitiing.
Stupid.
Well, before that we got I guess set up for that scene, which is Chris Hemsworth
in the movie.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is literally me. He's a graphic designer, and he's showing them the potential logos that he made for their ghost busting business. The first one is just like a ghost with big tits or something.
So
and that one's funny and stupid. Then there was another one. The only one I remember was the hot dog floating above the house.
The one in the middle was just
it was just the 7-Eleven
logo.
They're like, I think this already exists.
They're like, that's just the 7-Eleven logo, and he says, "You mean 711?"
And the other one's just a hot dog floating above a house. He's like, yeah, I thought it implied, ghost is holding the hot dog.
He says, I like hot dogs. It's got the two food groups.
The two
dogs and buns. I cannot stress enough how funny Chris Hemsworth is.
He's fucking hysterical. If you're not going to watch this movie, look up just every scene of him in the movie. There's probably a compilation on YouTube.
Compilation, yeah.
Right. So they're in the subway, giving graffiti guy shit. They're like, "Oh, did you see a ghost down here?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw a ghost. It looked like this," and he drew the Ghostbusters ghost,
which is so stupid because he was being serious. I think, Like, he was
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
think
yes,
no.
I
I
saw a
no,
ghost," and they were like, "Oh, what did it look like?" And then he painted the
no,
Ghostbusters.
he was fucking with them. He didn't see a
But
ghost,
he's
Dalton.
acting he was
He was
acting
being a dick.
seriously. Like, he wasn't acting this movie's n part of the problem with the movie not
I think you might be stupid because I didn't. Interpreted that as him very clearly just
yeah,
giving
maybe I'm just dumb.
cop lady shit. It's dumb, yeah. So then he draws the ghost, and they're like, okay, no, I don't want you graffitiing. That's vandalism. You can't do
Send me
that.
this
Get rid of the
too, and
ghost.
they came
He's like, oh, you want me to get rid of the ghost? And he uses what's very clearly the same can of spray paint
uh-huh,
to paint with a different color, which is now red, and he crosses it out like the Ghostbusters logo. It's a ghost with the X around it. You get it?
and then Kate McKinnon takes a picture of it, which is
And
like,
it's yeah,
okay,
it's I mean
establish
it's
something.
already so painfully on the nose. It's like she's like, "Oh wait, that could be a good logo.
No, he
Hold on a
says,
minute."
"Am I smoking crack, or
Right.
is that a
Am I on
great
crack or is
logo?"
that a great logo? It's like, yeah, I get it. I've seen Ghostbusters. I know the Ghostbusters
I'm not
logo. It's the logo
I'm
for
not
this movie.
dumb. You
I'm
might
not
be,
an
but I'm
idiot,
not.
all right? like
I'm not, you
uh
can though.
right. So that happens.
Oh, that just happened.
That just happens. Yeah, a lot of that in this movie. Uh they don't bust this ghost.
No, it gets
They
away. It goes
yeah, they this is their first like
it's their first bust.
I guess experiment with the proton pack gun. It's not powerful enough at this point. It kind of just drags the ghost with them. Then the ghost gets dragged through a train, and it's kind of material, but also it gets stuck in the train. I
Right,
don't
and it
know.
goes to Queens.
It goes to Queens, and they all get slimed on because it's a Ghostbusters movie. You have to have all the Ghostbusters getting slimed on.
Or just Kristen Wiig and a lot, which is a weird
No,
choice.
it was all of them in that scene.
Yeah, but
It was
Kristen Wiig was, like,
more
all
so
over her
Kristen Wiig.
face. Everybody else
Yeah, she
did
always
a
has the
little.
most.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she didn't have as good of an agent.
I mean, she's really the main character. We'll get there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She is. Yeah, I mean, we can just say that she's the main character of this movie.
She for sure. Like, she's supposed to be
Yeah,
in the way that Bill Murray is the main. Well,
right. No, I'd
Bill
say Bill
Murray's
Murray
kind
is
of the main character of the first one, but I would also argue there is no main character in the first one, which is part of what
sure.
makes it work.
Right. But
Anyway,
she is the focal character. The way Bill Murray maybe isn't the main character or the only main character. He is the one that it has the
the
most
plot
focus on. It
advances when he
opens
says
with him. It advances through him. So yeah, she's that character, but she's also Egon.
but she is really the main character of this one.
Yeah, more so than Bill Murray in the first one for sure. Because it's
Um,
I mean it's more so all the whole redemption thing, wanting to be a real scientist. That's more her arc than
right.
Melissa.
And
Like
it is
Melissa
also
McCarthy's
the
there.
mark of the
She's
movie.
right,
So, yeah.
but
But anyway,
whatever.
so they go, and this is where you
What
could have a
happens
sick
now?
ghost busting montage.
Right, but they don't
Instead,
because
they
it's not
have a
that
sick
movie.
proving I'm a real scientist arc montage, but it's not really a montage, it's
It's not
scenes.
much. Just yeah,
The news keeps
like,
popping up and they're like, these Ghostbusters, they're not real Ghostbusters, they're idiots. And then they're
right.
like, but we are real Ghostbusters, and there
But
really
we
are
are real
ghosts.
scientists,
Which is like, fine, I guess, whatever. If this is what
right?
you've got to prove, at least
At
make it
some
fun.
point, we introduce Bill Murray, whose whole character is just that he is a professional ghost disprover.
He's
Like that's I mean, he's
he's
a scientist of
well,
some
but
kind,
in the
clearly.
news clip, they claim that he's like a Photoshop image video
Oh, is
authenticator,
that what they said he was?
but specifically for paranormal.
Oh, okay. So he's whatever they
He's a
needed his
ghosty,
character to
right?
be.
He's a ghost debunker, but specifically works with pictures and videos and stuff.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, what
whatever.
else are you gonna do if you're a ghost debunker?
Right.
You're not gonna see him
True.
in person, right?
Right. And I mean, if
Anyway,
you do, you're kind of out of a job,
right,
right?
right. So they call him over to Ghostbusters headquarters, which is upstairs of a Chinese restaurant. I don't know that we established that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny and silly, yeah. It's
Um,
yeah.
He gets
Same
there and
Chinese
the ghost
restaurant that
murders
Melissa
him.
McCarthy ordered from earlier.
Right.
Didn't give her enough wontons. That was set up.
Right. They not really set up, but they
No, it was set up.
joke
It was set up. No, it was set up. It was set up.
Bill Murray gets murdered
Yeah,
by
Bill
a
Murray
ghost.
gets murdered by the ghost because
Kristen Wiig
gets
lets him
mad
out.
that he doesn't believe her because she's like, "Oh yeah, no, I have a ghost. You just can't see it. It's in this thing, and you just can't see it. But trust me, there's a ghost in here,
There's a ghost in this little tiny
in this
cylinder.
tiny little box." Yeah. So then she lets the ghost out because she's insecure about science stuff and
She
getting
murdered
bullied
him.
by people who don't believe. Well, yeah, but
Hand murder, but murder nonetheless.
right. I'd say maybe manslaughter.
Okay, well, she manslaughtered a man.
She manslaughtered Bill Murray for sure.
Slaughtered a man.
Right. Yeah.
If I slaughtered
So he
Bill Murray,
dies.
I'd be in jail.
Then
That's all I'm saying.
right. Then the cops are like, "Who threw this guy out the window?" They're like, "Oh, a ghost did it." Actually, he says, "Who threw this guy out the window?" That's how he talks.
He does.
That's how he talks.
Who threw this guy out the window?
Who threw this guy out the window? Yeah. They're like,
then,
it was a ghost. The ghost did it.
Because they claim the ghost did it, they get called to the mayor's office.
Yes.
And the dynamic between the mayor.
This is when the feds show up.
Right.
The one stupid guy with the mustache.
Right. They're all stupid.
Yeah.
For the mayor. I like the mayor in this.
The mayor's fun, yeah. And I mean the other Fed guy was just there. He wasn't inherently stupid, but they made it like a point of the
right. The mayor Ghostbuster dynamic in this is much different than it is in the first movie, and I really like it.
Right.
And it's just this like, oh yeah, no, ghosts are real for sure. We just can't tell the public. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. But also don't
we're going to say that you guys are frauds and
right.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun dynamic and kind of, I don't want to say unexplored because I know movies have done this, but not a ton. It's not done it's not done nearly as frequently as just Corrupt Politician is done.
Right.
And I like this better. Like this is super fun because it's more.
Yeah, no, I mean it's interesting. It's
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, original probably. I don't know. I like it.
I guess.
And, so they leave the mayor's office, and this is when the plot kind of starts to kick off.
Yeah.
They go they go to the incel's house.
Right.
Which is
at some point we set up incel. He has like a bunch of ghosts trapped in paintings.
Right.
He works
mirrors,
at
maybe
mirrors. I don't know. They've got ornate frames, whatever they are.
Right. I think, but they could also be.
I mean, they look like mirrors, but they've got like painting frames. I don't know. I called them both in the
right.
Whatever.
Also, paintings were kind of set up at the beginning.
They were sort of.
I don't know.
And it's also a Ghostbusters 2 reference. It doesn't matter. He's an incel. He works as a janitor at this hotel. He is our friend Josh.
Right.
He has cool. Right. He has cool sideburns.
Not cool, but he does have sideburns.
I think they're cool. They're like the Ricky from Trailer Park Boys and Star-Lord sideburns where they come to a point. I like those. I think those are cool.
I think
I don't think they don't work.
Specific kind of person to pull them off.
Right. Well, I think it's also you need more facial hair. You need something on the chin or the stash to pull that off.
Yeah.
Right. Or you need like a real chiseled face, which that guy didn't.
You think I could pull those off?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
He's got so he's got Tobuscus sideburns.
Right. Kind of.
Because he made the sideburn song.
Yeah, no, but
don't.
Right, I get it. Yeah. Tobuscus.
But anyway, so he kills himself.
Yes. They catch him with his big ghost machine where he's summoning all the ghosts, and he's like, "Oh, you caught me, but hey, check this out!" And he just grabs the ghost machine and electrocutes himself and dies.
And this is the first. This should have been the ending of the movie scene, because they could have ended it here had they put an action scene in here, make it a conclusion. You could have ended it with him dying in the machine.
Could have. It would have sucked and been bad.
It sucks anyway.
They could have. Sure. I think this would have been worse.
Well, no, yes, it's a fake out ending, though, is what I'm getting at. As
Yes,
opposed
yeah,
to building towards a real ending, they do a fake out ending.
right.
But
I mean,
anyway,
kinda. It's not really that much of a fake out. It's pretty clear that it's,
sure, they find the
shit's
guy.
still gonna go
I
happen.
mean, they find the guy who's causing all of the ghost,
Yes.
and then
So,
oh, they
okay, so whatever. Yeah, that happens, then spoiler alert, he turns into a ghost. He possesses Melissa McCarthy in the bathroom. She got a
she
bunch of goop coming out of
vomits.
her. Vomits goop. It's a stupid, ugly looking scene, but it's whatever. Then
The
she
ghost
just
leaves Melissa
busts out.
McCarthy and goes to be
Yeah,
Chris
the other Ghostbusters, Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones show up, and they're like, "Hey, why are you acting so crazy for?"
The power of Patty
Um,
compels you.
the power of Patty compels her. Then Chris Hemsworth is outside because this we've kind of been establishing him like wanting to be an actual Ghostbuster. He like wants to be on the team with them.
He
He's
just
like
sort of
whatever.
said it, which is funny. He's like, "I'm
He's
gonna be
just
a
yeah.
Ghostbuster."
Right. Yeah. So then he's just outside with with a Ghostbusters motorcycle. It's
That
fucking
he made
ridiculous.
himself.
Yeah. And it's great. He's got he's cracked. And then the ghost Josh flies out and possesses him. And
And he says,
now
"I
Chris
hope this
Hemsworth
guy
is
knows
there.
how to ride a motorcycle."
Yeah.
"Oh, yes, he
And then
does," and then rides
yeah,
away.
that's cracked. Then he just like makes a bunch of cops and military guys
He
dance.
does do that.
That's
Well, they're attacking him,
yeah,
and he
yeah. Well,
doesn't
because
let
he's at the I guess the hotel probably.
right, I think so.
Bunch there's ghosts flying everywhere. He's summoning them, doing crazy
What's the
ghost god
significance of the
shit.
hotel?
Oh, it's the X on the ley
Right,
lines.
right, 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 right.
Yeah, that was the thing. He was strategically placing his ghost summoning devices on the ley lines to supercharge them to open a giant ghost portal or whatever.
Right.
Because
Which
it's
he does,
Zool,
he's successful.
he does. He opens his big ghost portal. Then he gives them back Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is freed from his possession. They're like it's the
It's the ending of
the don't
Ghostbusters 1.
yeah, it's the you decide scene, and they're like, oh, what if you were just something cute? Why you got to be this like evil ghost? Just be a cute little ghost. So he turns into the little cute little Ghostbusters ghost icon. He's like, oh, like this, I'm cute. And then he gets big and monstrous
But he has
because
a
he's
bow
the
tie,
and then he's this. He does have a bow tie. It's awesome. And
and
then he gets
they
giant in CGI and it's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man
right, and they
and just
they
fucks shit up.
they establish like we're gonna need something big to destroy this guy. So the Ecto one has been stolen by Slimer. It's dumb.
Oh,
Anyway,
Slimer and his girlfriend. Yeah, they're
but
in
anyway,
this.
so Slimer and his girlfriend drive the Ecto one into the portal that the ghost came out of, and they blow it
Yeah,
up.
and this is after like a super super stupid schlocky
Oh, it's so
MCU
dumb.
type fucking fight scene where they're all just like epically fighting in slow mo. They're all like perfectly using their gadgets and their guns and just doing these like stupid fucking
It
it's
doesn't
so
get it,
goddamn
dude.
dumb.
It does not get it. This movie doesn't
No,
get it. But yeah,
yeah,
that's basically the end of the movie. There's some after
that's
credit
yeah.
stuff.
The car, the Ecto One car is a bomb for because Kate McKinnon built it, so it's a nuclear
Right,
reactor is
reactor.
on it for
They
some
blow it up
reason.
and then they destroy the bad guy.
They drive it into the vortex, blow it up. Oh, but it doesn't end there. Then she has to dive in and save her friend, and then their hair
Oh, I
turns white,
forgot
and
about
then it's
that.
the
See,
end of
it's
them.
so
It's
dumb. Quit doing
fucking
false
it's
endings.
yeah, it's whatever. The movie is over. The mayor, or the mayor's like
Mayor's a female
PR
horse.
Woody chick, female Woody. She's like, hey, good job, guys, but we're still not going to acknowledge you as legitimate, but we'll give you a lot of money and you can buy that firehouse now.
Right,
So
right, right.
they get the firehouse, and then
She says like, I appreciate your discretion, even though you're bad at it or something.
right, even though you guys suck, we're gonna give you a bunch of money.
This movie
Um,
doesn't get I mean, we're done with the
It
plot.
doesn't get
It
Ghostbusters.
doesn't
Yeah,
get
this it's over.
Ghostbusters.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't. And I hate to sound like that person,
Right.
but the first two Ghostbusters movies are so funny and they're so good. And the first
Yeah, no,
Ghostbusters movie is a perfect movie. It's not a
there
franchise
was a
movie.
beautiful yeah, there was a beautiful, elegant charm that shouldn't have worked, but it just they just
That's
they straight up they lucked out and just made the perfect movie. And yeah,
this movie. I don't know. I
trying.
think a Ghostbusters reboot could work if you get the exact right cast.
Sure. But at that point, why?
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Like,
Ghostbusters is not a franchise. Ghostbusters
right.
is a chemistry. It's a cast. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a dynamic. That's what it is.
And we said this during the discussion. We're like these characters have no chemistry at all, and they don't.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate because individually, none of them are that bad.
No, I like a
I'd
lot of
say,
what they did in this movie.
yeah,
The stupid Marvel
it's
stuff was
just
bad,
sure, but it was a mid
but you right,
2010s movie. They
you
were all
accept
like
that
that.
stuff.
Yeah,
Um, the characters themselves aren't bad, but the chemistry they have with one another and all the
it's not
dynamics does
very
not
good.
work. It's this movie is
They're
unfortunate.
also all they're also all kind of dumb, but
Yes.
not in the way they're all dumb in the first, because they're not really all dumb in the first one.
No.
They're just bad.
They're
They're
bad at
not
their job, but they're not
they're naturally not good at being ghost
they're not
exterminators because they're scientists. Why would they be good at being ghost
no,
exterminator? Why
they're
would
not
anyone be good at being a
right.
ghost
They're
exterminator?
not good at doing a job that doesn't exist yet.
Right.
This one, it's like, oh, they're stupid. They're stupid little
Yeah.
babies.
But also they're all
Brilliant.
legitimate genius scientists that should all be taken
They're
seriously.
brilliant.
They're brilliant. They're geniuses.
It really is a
Except for
shame
Leslie Jones. She's just there.
because where the first movie is a mistake that worked,
Hmm.
this movie is an effort and a legitimate effort. And I mean this because there are
Yeah.
lots of movies that don't have any legitimate effort. This movie is a legitimate effort that failed. The
Right.
first one is a mistake that happened to be great. This one is the exact opposite. And a lot of people tried
Yeah.
really hard and it failed anyway.
They tried legitimately and very hard, and it just, to the best of their efforts, did not work
And
at all.
when I watched this, and this is only the second time I've seen it, I saw it when it came out in
Mhm.
theaters. I
Right.
want to like this movie a lot because there's a lot of stuff I like.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters are fitted.
Right. They
Erin
are. They
Gilbert
are
is
fitted.
hilarious.
Hmm.
Like the each of the characters on their own are interesting-ish.
Ed Begley Jr. is there. He's funny.
It's a
You
Ghostbusters
know.
reboot, and I think Ghostbusters are fun. Like there's a lot of little elements where I'm like,
Sure.
okay, I want this to work. I want this to work. I want this to work. But when you put it all together and you tie a little bow around it, it
Right. Little bow tie.
when you tie a little bow tie around it, you untie the bow tie and you pull the wrapping paper off.
You
Everybody's
get
wrapped
you
up a
get a
box of
disgusting CGI Ghostbusters monster.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's a little poop. Somebody mailed a little
Right.
poop.
Well, I was going for the bow tie. The CGI Ghostbusters
Right.
ghost had a
Bow
bow
tie set
tie.
up earlier in the movie.
Right.
Cooper's bow tie
Right.
in the opening.
It was, yeah, that was an ugly bow tie though. This one was
Yeah.
just a normal
I don't
one.
know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to like this movie. I do. I just don't.
I don't care enough about this movie to want to like it. I mean, I
I
like the
like
parts I liked. I don't.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like Ghostbusters, but I don't care about Ghostbusters.
Right. I guess that's true.
Like,
I don't know.
I mean, it's like the Spider-Man thing we were talking about when we were watching it. Like, I like Spider-Man, but I don't care if Uncle Ben says "great responsibility." I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
We didn't even talk about that.
I like when he swings and go whew, flip, flip,
Sure.
flip, flip.
Sure. I don't
Like it's
know.
just
I wish this movie was better because there's some good ideas.
yeah. There's a lot of
It's
good, a
close.
lot of
This
good
movie's
ideas and a lot of
close.
good
It's edging
content.
on goodness,
This movie is edging for
but
sure.
it's not good.
Right.
It's edging being good, but it's not good.
Yeah.
and that's sad.
So,
I wouldn't recommend
yeah,
this movie to
yes,
anyone.
I probably would. I don't know who, but I don't know.
I don't know that this movie. Okay, this movie is
If I will recommend anyone who hasn't seen this movie.
for
I will
sure. Watch it.
recommend it.
Watch it at least once, I
I
guess.
think,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, unless you don't care about Ghostbusters and don't want to watch, in which
right.
case, why are you watching a
If you're like a
podcast about
Ghostbusters
Ghostbusters?
fan who's been boycotting this movie because they're
Right.
women,
First of all, get a life.
right,
Go outside and get some pussy.
right, touch the
Second of all, just
grass.
watch the movie, dude.
Maybe
Like,
go on a date and watch this movie with your date.
maybe not. Maybe build to that. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I
try
feel
and
like
talk
a
to a
random
woman first.
date who's going on a date with a Ghostbusters incel would love to watch a Melissa McCarthy comedy.
Maybe. But I don't
I don't
know.
either. As far as this
You know.
movie, does this movie hold up? I don't think so.
No, I mean, it never. Yeah, I'll say yes because it never really
See, I think this
held up.
kind of
You know,
humor was very
I
prevalent
think
in this era specifically.
sure,
It's the early 2000s type humor. I mean, it's your bridesmaids, it's your other things, I'm sure, but it's that kind of
right,
humor. And for that reason, I'm going to say it doesn't hold up because I don't think that humor holds up.
right. I'm gonna say it does hold up because I don't think that kind of humor was ever really funny.
Sure,
Um,
but it was popular, and I don't think it is anymore.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't watch modern comedy. Like comedy shit I watch is Always Sunny, dog.
Right. Well, modern comedy is very philosophical and it's not really funny. Modern comedy sucks too. People talk bad about this comedy. I talk bad about this comedy, but modern comedy sucks too. Comedy's dead. Women killed it.
Yeah,
Female Ghostbusters
maybe.
killed
Hey, y'all see my cat though? She in the window. She chill as hell. Hey,
female
make sure to
Ghostbusters killed comedy.
probably not, no, but
Extreme
make
Sports
sure to
saved
watch
it.
this on YouTube. Make sure to check this out on you. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, check us out on YouTube and you can see my cat.
Or on Spotify you can see your cat as well.
Oh, and on Spotify, yeah, and also my cool Dash Rendar sweater.
Right.
You guys remember Dash Rendar, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire?
No one
No one knows that. Nah, come on, one person remembers
people
the
are saying, "Oh,
NES or
Star Wars?
N64.
What is Star Wars?
Um,
Is that like Baby Yoda?"
George Lucas wants to kiss his sister.
Right, that's Star Wars. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add?
So yeah, thanks for watching. I guess check this movie out if you haven't seen it or you watched it and you want to watch it again.
If you watched it in 2016 and you were like, "Oh, this sucks because it's women," watch this movie again.
Right.
If
Or
you've
if
had
you
a change
watched
of
it,
heart, if you haven't, you'll be mean.
if you watched it in 2016 and you loved it, you thought it was great, watch it
For
again
sure.
because
What are you doing not
you
watching
liked
it?
the
You loved
movie.
it. It was
Yeah,
great.
I mean, watch movies you like. You know.
If
Thanks
you
for
have
watching.
time, if you want to watch along to this movie with us, we have a commentary track
Yes.
available on our Patreon.
It's just $1.
We'll yell,
It's not
you'll
much.
scream, we'll.
Right. Maybe hoot a little bit, possibly.
Well, the listener might die.
I mean, that's sure that could happen regardless of
Well, it
the
will
money.
happen.
I mean, there's always yeah. Well, there's always a
Will
possibility. Yes. Well, it's a definitive thing. Everyone listening to our podcast will die at some point.
It's a
But
hard sales pitch,
it's
but nothing is certain.
but it is always a possibility that someone could die while listening to our podcast,
And several people have.
Well, I don't know that we know that for sure,
You
but hey,
don't get
check out my cat. She's back. Look, it looks like I'm petting her, but I'm
I
not.
get the emails about people that are dead. Who've listened.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for watching. Comment down below if you died while watching this.
Yeah, comment if a family member died while watching this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
my condolences. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Mine too, for sure.
That's all I got. What
I've
are we watching
got.
next week.
I mean, the only thing else I've got a Glock in my Rari, but that
Right.
doesn't feel super
No, not
relevant right
they
now.
died, Daniel. A family member died.
Right. That's yeah. I'm sorry.
What are we watching next week? Dag it all, sag it all. What are we doing as the final week of
Uh, Shit, I don't know. Oh yeah, no, we're watching Bill Murray as a fucking million-year-old man,
right? And Harold
and
Ramis is a dead.
Stranger Thing. They bring back Harold Ramis as a Force ghost. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but
And
we'll watch that.
um,
Ghostbusters Afterlife
Paul Rudd
next week.
is funny. I like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, he is funny. Yeah, I
So
do
we'll
like Paul
see.
Rudd. He's Ant-Man.
We're gonna watch the most generic. This is every requel ever requel.
We're gonna watch Ant-Man and the Wasp:
We're
Quantumania.
gonna watch.
Jonathan Majors choked his wife. Thanks for watching. Ring the bell. Send this to any woman,
Ever.
anyone,
Your mom, your
anyone.
sister, your
Send this to
ex-girlfriend, your
your mom, your
girlfriend.
sister, your grandma, whoever, or if you're that incel that didn't like Ghostbusters and you took our advice and you're taking some nice young lady from Hinge out on a date,
Right.
and you're watching this movie with her, whatever, send this to her,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she'll know that we're the reason
Send this
that
now
you asked her out.
and tell her this time, whatever this time is on the video, and say, watch this. And I'm gonna say something really quickly. Hey, friend, a friend of our listener, the man who sent you this wants to take you on a date. So watch Ghostbusters 2016 with him. You won't regret it.
Yeah,
I promise.
I promise. Look, I know he looks like he would smell bad. He's actually a good personal friend of mine. Not as bad as you would think.
No.
Yeah, and he's a good guy.
So go out with him. Just reply to his
Just
text. Just
yeah,
say, sure!
yeah. Just
Exclamation
say
point.
sure. He'll pay. He's a gentleman. He'll pay for.
Hey, dude, you better pay. If you don't pay, you're gonna make.
Dude, you gotta pay. Yeah, no. If you're taking her out, you cannot be
You
broke.
and
All right.
you better drive too. You better drive her. You better pick her up.
Yeah, have at least enough money for
Gas and
like
food.
coffee, gas, coffee, whatever simple date shit. Take her to Starbucks, whatever. Maybe not Starbucks. Maybe like a local cafe that's a little cheaper than Starbucks.
Right.
Or I think people aren't supporting Starbucks because of like Palestine or whatever. Whatever reason you have to not support Starbucks.
Right. I like their matcha with lavender in it.
Yeah, I haven't had Starbucks in a while, but they're mid, whatever.
I don't like their coffee, but their matcha's pretty good. Anyway, this is it. The Semi-Pro Film Show. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time when we meet again. I hate you. Next week we watch Ghostbusters Afterlife, so stay tuned for that.
$1 Patreon, pay $1, pay $5, holla, 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 whoo!